Productions. Sit down, get comfy, and await your horror. Hello there, everyone. Welcome to my humble abode. Today we will be starting reading some SCP story series. If that sounds appealing, do stay tuned. Like and subscribe. And without further ado, let's get started. Wait, so are you actually Agent Xavier Garcias? Asked that with the same incredulous, gushy tone that the new staff always had when they saw the nameplate on the desk. Yes, I am Dr. Alto Clef. No, those stories were all greatly exaggerated. The man in the plain brown civilian security officer's suit responded with a hint of resignation. Agent Garcias, why are you still wearing that black suit? Didn't the requisitions department issue you a cover uniform before you arrived on site? Sir, no sir. Agent Garcias responded, tearing his eyes from the stylized nameplate, bearing the musical inscription that was such a huge part of the Foundation's mythos. Snapping stiffly to attention, in the manner of one who was addressing a drill sergeant, Garcias continued. I was told that a uniform and cover identity would be provided on location. Jesus Christ. At ease, Garcias. Clef stood up and paced around the grimy old security office and opened a rusted locker. You're way too big to wear one of my extras, and I don't have your cover identity, so guess what? You're camping out here for the next few days. I'm not having you shuttle back and forth from this facility looking like one of the gosh dang Men in Black. I can't believe Requisition screwed this up again. Please tell me they at least sent you with the necessary supplies? Yes, sir, Dr. Clef. They're in the back of my truck. Let me guess, you drove in here with a big shiny black SUV with out-of-state plates, and you parked it out in the lot outside, right next to my Toyota. Yes, sir? Garcias, this site is an abandoned federal pertinary with a really gruesome past. To ghost hunters, this place is like a blonde holding up a sign that says, free blowjobs. You're supposed to be part of the skeleton rent-a-cop staff that keeps horny teenagers and thrill seekers from trying to sneak into this building. Do you know what happens to people who sneak into the building? Entering the restricted rooms in this building is invariably fatal. Regulations state that any persons who enter SCP-450 are to be considered lost. Garcias recited from memory, still standing at attention with his square jaw thrust up from the air. Do you look like a rent-a-cop? Are you driving the shitty kind of car that a rent-a-cop would drive? Clef limped up towards the younger, taller man, narrowly stealing eyes that had already witnessed more than a lifetime's worth of horror. No, I'll tell you what you look like. You look like you're a frickin' new guy who doesn't quite understand what he's dealing with yet. You're here to learn that really frickin' fast, or you're gonna have to die here like one out of 4 frickin' new guys that come in here to learn the ropes. Goddamn devil, that 732 made me out to be, because that guy, He would just put a bullet through your worthless tushy and bury you back in the parking lot. But I am not that man. So, if you frick up in the slightest bit from here on out, you're not only gonna die inside of 450, but the gates of hell are gonna wide open up so wide that the cleanup crew that comes here to pick up the pieces is going to have to fake a natural disaster big enough to wipe the neighboring 3 towns off the map. Am I clear? Sir, yes, sir, Garcia said, staring off blankly over the top of Dr. Clef's receding hairline. This isn't the army, agent. Clef sighed wearily and returned to his desk to send an equally nasty letter to the requisitions officer, who had sent him a new agent without the proper gear. Sorry, Doctor, Garcia's replied, receiving no answer. He slumped his shoulders and sat down on the musty tweed sofa in the office. Finally, he spoke up again. So, what are you doing here, officer? Clef looked up from his monitor and squinted. Retiring. Day 17 of Containment Cycle 366. I'm getting old, Garcias, Clef explained. It was just over 30 years ago that we first secured this site. I was the first person to walk that mile, you know. Devised the containment procedures myself. Garcia said nothing. He was dressed in the proper plain brown uniform now. His eyes looked straight ahead down the dilapidated hallway. His pace was measured and calm, his footsteps almost silent in comparison to the doctor's shuffling. Limp and the clack of Clef's cane. I based the containment pattern on the Seal of Solomon, Clef continued in a relaxed tone. Thought it would have been some sort of arcane power over the entities trapped inside Death Row. It seems to have worked. They've only gotten loose once, and that was 7 years ago, when some frickin' new guy didn't make it to the chair in time. Once I kicked Bright into the containment zone as a joke. You could smell nothing but burning chimp for the next 3 months. Even in the safe zone. Fricker said he'd kill me one day for that. Good times. Also, I fricked your mother. Garcias flinched and looked sideways. Clef smacked him in the shin with his steel-tipped cane. Don't react, Garcias. Don't react to anything while you're taking this walk, the doctor hissed. You just keep on tuning me out and finish the practice run. We've got 3 more to do today. You need to execute this task perfectly, or you will die. Do you understand me? Now come on, back to the starting line. Clef and Garcias turned around and walked to the end of the empty cell block in silence. They were in a safe wing of the facility, one that was secure enough to have electric lights overhead. The air was thick, with the smell of rot, strongest at the far wall, where the practice symbol was painted in pig's blood, over and over on a daily basis. Clef paused, holding up his hand before Garcias started his walk again. His chest heaved and his hand clenched the handle of his cane so roughly that it shook. You alright, Doctor? Do you need rest? Garcias asked gently. Clef looked down at the grimy concrete floor. You know, I wonder if it even matters. The pattern. We've been tracing it in death row once a month for 30 years. But I don't think the entities care about the patterns. All they want is the blood. Doctor? It's the walk that is important. Agent, you have to walk calmly and at the perfect rate. Not too fast and not too slow. Don't look to the sides, just go in. Smear blood on the walls and get out. Do that and the entities will not see you, and you'll live to do this again next month. Maybe get a sign to contain something less shitty later. Yes, Doctor. Do you need a rest? No. I just need to think something new to torment you with while you practice. Something really good. Clef's face split into a wrinkled grin. Let's get going. For the next 4 hours, Clef yodeled nonstop. Garcias managed to complete one practice walk successfully. Day 30 of Containment Cycle 366. The doctor and the agent stood at the threshold of death row. A pair of brilliant floodlights shone behind them in the safe zone, casting their shadows starkly against the painted steel containment doors that blocked the paths of the pitch-black execution chamber. Garcias clutched a white plastic bucket containing a paintbrush and 3 blood packs generously donated by the people of the neighboring town in one of their frequent blood drives. What if they attack me anyway? Garcias finally asked, staring at the door blankly. They shouldn't, Xavier. But if I do, I promise, I'll finish the job. We'll keep these things contained. Clef waved his key card over the electronic lock, and the steel doors swung towards the two darkness of the death row cell block, 166 meters away. The door to the execution chamber stood open, barely illuminated by the powerful flood lamp behind the 2 men. Everything seems normal, Clef nodded, as the doors of every cell on the left began slamming open and shut in unison. Go get it done, kid. Remember, the pattern isn't important. The walk is. Garcia's breath was calm and measured as he stepped into the darkness. Clef watched as his partner briskly strolled past the remains of an agent who had failed to execute his task perfectly 3 years ago. After passing 73 yards down the hallway, Garcia spun, his head sideways with a short exclamation. Mom? Abruptly, his body was yanked to the side, smashed against the rusted metal of a closed cell over and over, until it was limply dragged between the bars in a smear of gore. Clef narrowed his eyes and grimaced. He had really thought Garcia's was going to work out. Clef walked with his cane tucked under one arm. His other swung the white plastic bucket in time with his measured steps. Exactly 11 minutes after entering SCP-450, he came to the old electric chair, rattling and shaking in his fixtures. With the exception of Garcia's screw-up, everything was going as expected. Clef knelt between the shuddering electric chair and examined the bucket's contents. 2 of the blood packets had been torn when Garcia's was taken. Looking back the way he came, for the first time, he could see the trail of bloody footprints he had left behind. Dr. Clef pursed his lips. The one remaining blood packet would not be enough to draw the containment pattern he had devised 30 years ago. Digging into his trouser pocket, he produced the old hunting knife. Dmitri had given him a present after the vacation in Tijuana. Clef rolled up his sleeve, laid the blade against his wrist, and set about the task. He doubted he would have time to walk safely after this. Day 1 of Containment Cycle 367. Dr. Yancey sat at the security office, feeling very small in front of Dr. Clef's laptop. A progress bar slowly filled as a series of high-resolution photographs was attached to a report for the O5 Council. Well, that was the SCP Foundation story. All they want is blood. If you enjoy this content and want me to keep narrating SCP stories, please like and subscribe. And maybe leave a comment, it really helps the channel. In the meantime, I'll see you all later.